Alright, so I am just documenting my first experience driving a Jaguar I-Pace. Let's see how this goes. So I've heard that these are solid competition for the Tesla Model S. Not too many other cars that I know of can do that. Now, I've driven a Model S. Granted, it was one of the more base model ones, a P70. It was a blast to drive. The instant acceleration getting onto the freeway was like I thought about being at freeway speeds, and then all of a sudden I was. Alright, so this number tag's going to drive me nuts. Let's see what we can do about that. Oh, done. Fixed. I guess I don't really have to worry about letting this thing warm up, do I? I can just sort of get right on it. Alright. So, that was full throttle, I guess full go, for just a split second or two. And from that speed, compared to the Tesla, it didn't feel as... I guess it was as fast, but it didn't feel as invasive. Like the Tesla, you really felt your stomach go up into your throat, and then all of a sudden the car's just gone. This one, there was a bit of a pause before the acceleration started to really kick in. But once it did, that's when it really started to pick up. So far, I'm liking it. It's quiet. The ride is substantially better than the ride in the Model S. P70. Remember, that's the only one that I've driven. I haven't driven the P90s or any of the P100s, any of the higher end Teslas, but this already feels way better. Let's see how it takes a corner. Stays flat, even, easy to keep balance. Has a really good balance. I'm sure that has a lot to do with the low center of gravity in the batteries. Alright, so let's see how this does on freeway. Yeah, there's that acceleration again. Thinking about it, and I'm already up to 75. Just back that off again. Oh, that looks like some nasty traffic. So, seeing as I've got some things to do, let's take a look. What other kind of information do we have here on this gauge cluster? That's just my trip. Kilowatt hours. What's my range? 192 miles before I gotta go. Oh, I wasn't even seeing this panoramic roof. That's pretty cool. Whoa, that's definitely not something the Tesla had. Alright, now let's be objective here. Let's think, what did the Tesla have that this doesn't? Oh, I don't know if I'm qualified enough to answer that question. I think this has a more aesthetically pleasing dashboard too, where the Tesla had this giant, humongous, like double iPad put on top of each other in the center. This looks like a more conventional dash. Alright. People are starting to irritate me. I am now in front of you. Being held up by a dump truck. Just sitting there puffing out soot. Alright. Freedom. knobs and buttons for their HVAC system, and the knobs in the center of them have a little screen that is like a little LCD screen that displays all of the numbers, and it does it in a very pleasantly aesthetic way. It's not just some red lights and your standard, I don't know what you call that. Wow. This car does stay balanced very well. I took that off ramp, and before I knew it, I was off of it. Believe me, I wish I could show you guys the rest of the car right now, but I'm driving, and I should probably go ahead and leave you where you sit, at least for now. But I will admit, I'm having a blast. Oh, no, light screen. Sorry, guys. Alright. Up the hill we go. That's so weird. It's just such a linear feel, that, you know, that acceleration from an electric car. It doesn't have the interruptions and the undulations that a typical engine would, with, especially with a manual transmission. Continuously variable transmissions on petrol cars can come kind of close, but at the same time, it's not the same. It's, you get that one initial feel when the electric car starts to move forward, and that feeling just, it hits you hard, and then it just stays that way. It doesn't change, it doesn't get any more intense or any less intense, it just goes. Now, with the CVT transmission, you have the engine's power that is going to change the rate at which the car accelerates. This, no, it accelerates and it just stays accelerating at that rate. I was shocked. It's an amazing feeling. So how many miles has this car been driven? So it's got 5327 on it now. It came with 5321, so I've driven it 6 miles. Put some more on it. Let's see what this guy in the Model S looks like when I look next to him. Did I just say guy and it'd be a woman? Yep, sure enough. Bit myself on that one. Nice job, Anthony. Yup. One thing I'm also kind of noticing is just a little detail. The turn signal stock for this car feels very, very smooth. Like it was engineered to feel effortless. Not like anybody's going to use it anyway. That's kind of cool. So some of you who have been in the automotive industry may remember certain cars, especially European cars, coming with vacuum gauges as miles per gallon gauges. And this car has something similar, except for on one side, when you're getting on the I can't keep calling it gas, when you're getting on the go pedal, it goes to power, and then when you let off and it starts coasting, it goes to charge. Another thing I really like is how the map, when you're driving down the street in this car, is a lot less invasive than the one in the Tesla P70. Whereas in Tesla, that giant double iPad screen showed a massive map of where you were going. while it being cool and never seeing anything like that before, again, it was very, very distracting and invasive. So I like this map. It's in the center cluster, where right next to the speedometer, so all the real information that you want is all right there. It's easy to read. You know, it's just a quick glance. You don't have to look away from the road too hard. I know I'm looking away from the road right now, but believe me, my peripheral vision is still looking forward. So I definitely like this map much better. Blind spot monitoring indicator, or a lane departure indicator on the dash right now. And oh, would you look at that? It's also on my windshield. How did I miss that? There's a heads-up display that I looked right through. It even shows me my the speed limit right there on the windshield. It says 65 miles an hour. I'm not going to tell you how fast I'm going. Don't ask. What does that do? Nothing. Okay. So now let's try and trick the car into thinking that I'm lane drifting. Right now it appears that it's got a clear view of the lanes in front of me, so I'm just gonna road turns slowly start to merge over here. And it just let me. Now, while I did that, the lane indicators on both the instrument pack here and the heads-up display grayed out as I was passing through it. Now, I've driven cars in the past that had some type of lane departure warning system before, and most of them are, I guess, alerting would be a good word to use. There are lots of chimes will sign off. They're loud, annoying, and on some cars, they even override the steering wheel and correct you, put you back into your lane. That I don't like. Me, coming from my past in driving cars as an operator with a manual transmission and a manual rack and pinion steering, no. I like feeling like I'm in control. If the car overrides my input and it decides it wants to take control over me, I don't like that. Because at that point, that's some engineer sitting in some office somewhere or lab telling me how I'm supposed to be driving. I've met a couple of engineers who drive. I don't know if the people who engineer this one can drive. So how can I trust you? Nope. Alright. And this car just floats along the highway. You barely feel a thing. I'm kind of pay attention to it. I'm used to feeling the vibrations in my other car. This thing barely has any. I can feel something. I can feel the tires hitting the ground, rolling over. I can feel the little bumps. But this, I guess you could call it the signal strength, is a lot weaker in this car than it is like on my WRX. You know, I feel a lot of those inputs a lot more, I don't know, what's the word? They're more apparent in my car than they are in this one. This just feels comfortable. And it's because it's a Jag. It's supposed to. I remember one of my technicians driving me around in an old, like 2006 Jaguar S-Type R. One of the cars I really want. One of the cars I grew up staring at when I was a kid. beautiful car. Regardless, he took me for a ride, and he gets on the freeway, and he just stomps on the gas on the on-ramp, and I feel again this gentle little hug, like right there in the bottom of my stomach, and that gentle hug just kind of stays there. A lot like this electric car here, but in a gas car. It was so smooth, and all of a sudden I was doing 80. It was incredible. I barely felt a thing. Jaguar definitely knows how to make cars. And this definitely shows. I mean, those of you who have been around long enough have probably heard Elon Musk talk about how his company, Tesla, is not a car company. He calls it a tech company. I feel that's rightfully so. The guy makes great techie parts. So, you figure Elon Musk comes out with the base design, the foundation upon which a person can build an electric car. Then opens his patents so that the rest of the car manufacturing industry can use it at their leisure. Jaguar has taken the tech piece and turned it into a work of art. Because let's face it, all Jags are a work of art. It's their purpose. Purpose is there is no purpose, and that is the definition of art. Well done, Jaguar. How visibility is out of this. Looking out the rear window leaves a lot to be desired. The rear window has a substantial arch that's going over the top of it, and the headrests in the back seats do a sizable job of interfering with the side-to-side view for the rear view. Small little pocket, but it's decent enough. I can see out the back. I can see all the cars that are behind me for the most part. On the sides that I can't see, the side view mirrors are great. Side view mirrors are big. They show a lot of information. Turn my head's pretty easy. There isn't a huge B-pillar right here blocking my line of view. Same thing on this side. Looking to the right, there's plenty of open space. So no issues there as far as blind spots. I feel very secure in this. As much as I actually do like how the interior is styled, I want to say this, the material that they used, I'm seeing a lot of your more typical materials that they use as a dash, like, I guess you could call it vinyl, pleather maybe. I don't see any actual leather on the dash, which is something that I would actually come to expect in a Jag or a Land Rover. But this one doesn't seem to have any. I can understand. I mean, you're coming out with an electric car as your first car. You want to make sure that you get the electric car part done right before you start going any further. And here I was talking about Jaguar being a piece of art, and here's this more conventional style dash that I talked about. Oops. Look, the guy's allowed to have flaws, okay? I own up to him. This definitely feels good. Alright, how many miles have I driven this thing? 5,339, 321, 18 miles. Oh man, they even have lane indicators on the steering wheel. I guess that's to turn the system off. Yep. Oh, it's got a heated steering wheel? I don't need that. It's nice and cozy in here. Actually, the heater works quite well, and it works very quickly. a generous, healthy dosing that they gave this car piano black. I do like piano black. And the anodized silver trim that goes around it. So I will give them props to that one. That was a nice touch, Jaguar. The vents look really good. Aesthetically pleasing. I know I'm talking about all these visual things and none of you guys can see it right now. It's for the greater good. I'm not trying to get fired. So y'all can stay right there until I say so. Alright. Yeah. I think I do like the way this car accelerates as compared to the Tesla too. Having that little bit of a hesitation between stepping on the go pedal and actually accelerating does kind of give the driver the option to sort of, sure you really want to do this? Because I'm not sure you're ready. And I could definitely, because I remember the first time I drove that P70, I was getting on the highway, and as soon as I thought about stepping on the go, I was at highway speeds. And it was so jarring that I'll never forget it. It was so harsh, just boom, pin back in the seat, stomach, in throat, in an instant, just boom. As soon as I decided I want to, and I was there. This car, you get on the gas, I'm just gonna say that I'm relatively close to this person in front of me in an electric car, and I'm just going to give it the beans and see how long it takes for this car to react. So strange. There. Now all of a sudden it's responding very quickly. I'm thinking, yeah, it was all in my head. Boy, this turned into a giant waste, didn't it? No, I'm kidding. Nothing's ever a waste. Getting pretty much wrapped up here. I don't see any warning lights coming on this thing. Drives great. Smells nice. Back is starting to hurt though. I live far too much of a sedentary lifestyle. I drive way too much. So this car does have a bit of a warning when you do start to drift lanes. This off-ramp that I hit here has a kink to the right that I typically get very close to the lane line. And it does a great job of getting other cars to act up. Well, this one, when I went across that line, started to vibrate the steering wheel. I thought I was going over one of those rumble strips, you know, the junk bumps.